Alright guys, went to Salem, Virginia, where they were having a little comic book convention called the Salem Vintage Comic Book Show, maybe. And wow, it was interesting, man. It really was. Ended up getting there pretty late. Me and the great Tim Anderson and his wife Star Anderson, great in her own way, all ended up meeting up and going down there, and we started out late. We were just kind of cruising on down there. Nobody was in a big rush or anything. Got down there and met Scott Connor. And when I got in there, didn't really have to dig too much because the video I posted a few weeks ago, maybe last weekend, Con 2, Khan Con 2, as in Wrath of Khan, I had a lot of the same vendors, so I'd already been through a lot of their stuff. But I met a lot of people there who it seems like watch my video, and it seems like I've garnered a little bit of respect for my Marvel Rant, SJW's Killing Comics and Diversity of Ideas. A lot of nice things were said to me, and my friends kept me honest and humble there because, man, I got burned about 30 times by them throughout the day, just kidding around and stuff. But everybody that I met or you came up and gave me the kind words, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I met a fellow YouTuber, the Simply Incredible podcast. He's out of Lynchburg, Virginia, which is a couple hours from me. So hopefully maybe one day we'll be able to get a little podcast up or something, and hope to see you again. Who else did I meet? A few other people, but some of the vendors had seen my videos. And first of all, I want to give a big shout out to Michelle. She is of When Toys Were Fun, and we had a short little talk that I don't know if it was considered to be in passing or anything like that, but it was just about my collecting and her collecting and remembering stuff from when she was little. And she always has great deals. She has dollar boxes that she sprinkles great books in there, and she says she does that on purpose. She kind of likes to see people happy and enjoying the hobby and stuff, so her heart's in the right place, especially when it comes to the collecting and having fun with what she's doing. And I have bought from her for years. I always light up when I hit a flea market around here, or I see her at a convention around here, and she's everywhere in this area and stuff, and I always hit her stuff up. I've been buying off her for a while. So there you go, Michelle. And then another place, a couple weeks ago, I shot a video about the sidewalk comic book sale that was in Roanoke, Virginia. They were there, and at the end of the video here, I'm going to give a little trivia on this cover. What makes this cover unique from, you know, 99.9% of all other comic book covers and stuff, because Infinity Comics is the shop. Here's their number and their address and their card they gave me, and they gave me the comics so I could, like, you know, shout them out on the in the video. So there you go, man. Great guys, great dollar boxes with them, a great little store. I've stopped in there twice, and they're on Williamson Road in Roanoke. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that comic. They gave me the comic for free specifically to mention in a comic. What happened was I was kind of showing the guy some books, and I told him about this comic and what it was about. So he's like, put that in the video. Here you go. Alright, so along with all the great people I met, and just had a blast and everything like that. After that, we went to a place called Texas Tavern, which is my favorite restaurant in Roanoke, Virginia. 10 stools. They seat 100 people at a time. You know, they'll seat 1,000 people, 10 people at a time. It looks like the kind of place where you walk in and you expect Ponyboy and the rest of the outsiders to walk in. Just a great place. I ate $10 worth of food there, which is like going to Taco Bell and spending 30 bucks. I've never spent that much there, man. You know, cheesy Western, hot dogs, bowl of chili, some lemonade, got a little pie, little cake, little snack cake or something. And then we went and watched, ended up watching Sausage Party, which was awesome. And then by the time I got home, after all the, you know, riding in the back of the car, having them drive around and stuff like that, ended up stopping and getting a milkshake. No better way to end the night. So, and you know, and sometimes when you go to these conventions and stuff, you just have these great talks, because before we took off from the convention, they actually had a place you could sit down. We ended up talking a little bit of comics. I got burned a couple times, and then we ended up having a great talk about Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow, which I'm putting in this video if you're watching, Star. It's a classic. Sorry. Anyway. So here's some of the books I got, man. Not a big haul. I don't know if there's anything that's going to blow anybody away, because like I said, I've already been through the books, and it's kind of cool to go around there because some of the stuff I didn't buy at Con were still in the boxes with my little stash there, and I can't believe I found a few of them, right? So one of the first things I got was Solar Man of the Atom number 4. Very well may have this. I either need issue 2 and 3 or 2 and 4. I don't know what it was. But I love the pre-Unity Valiant comics when Jim Shooter was pretty much running the show, man. Great stuff. Solar Man of the Atom. I think issue 2 went up, and it kills me because as I'm shooting the video, I remember seeing a number 2 for $6, and yeah, I would have got it. So yeah, I definitely need Solar Man of the Atom number 2, I think. But Solar Man of the Atom got into quantum physics. It was just a great story. And as people know, I've got this weird thing about sock monkeys. I kid around saying it's a phobia and all this stuff, but they really do creep me out. And there is a story. But I ended up getting a number 1 of Sock Monkey by Tony Millionaire. I think this is from '98. He did a series of miniseries, so there's been a couple of number 1s. I'll have to look up and see where this is at. But honestly, these are just great, fun stories. Great black and white art. Like I said, it's an indie book, so you know we kind of veer off from the superhero stuff. Just a little change of pace. You know, just like I said, great art in here. And I always do have anxiety. I'm going to turn this book over because I don't want to see the sock monkey. And wouldn't you know it, on the back he's got a picture of a real sock monkey and a crow. Well, yeah, a real sock monkey and a toy crow. So we'll just put that under another book and turn it upside down. Creeps me out. Now the interesting thing is, before we went to the movies, we stopped at Barnes & Noble and we walked around Valley View Mall in Roanoke, Virginia, and ended up getting coffee, and I got hot chocolate there and stuff, just kind of hanging out. And you know, like I said, we were not in a rush of the day. The day was just just whatever, you know. Everybody was just real laid back. It was everybody's day off, you know. And I saw, as I was walking around Barnes & Noble, man, I saw this copy of Moby Dick on sale for like $7.98 or something. And me having comic books on the freaking brain to realize that Cerebus is probably the Moby Dick of comics, you know, not just because of sheer volume. I mean, it is one 300-issue story, and the chapters of the life of Cerebus are Earth Pig and stuff like that. But, you know, when Cerebus Zero came out, like, over 20 years ago, I had dabbled in Cerebus here and there, knew it, and like I said, I got my early 40s. I'm like, you know, I really need to read this. So I've got well over 100 issues of Cerebus collected, and I have 4 of the trades and stuff. So you know, I'm pretty sure I've got a good chunk of the Cerebus story, and I've read a few of them. And it's some unique and sophisticated writing in places, and funny where it needs to be. But what I found was this thing called Free Cerebus. I think this came out in '92. And what this does is this sort of gives you the idea of what Cerebus is. I think it goes through all the way up to Jocka's story, so we're in the early 140s, and that's probably where this was at when this came out. But it kind of explains Cerebus and kind of catches you up, not in a great detail manner and stuff, but you know, you can kind of see the evolution of the series, and it tells you some of the characters he's put in it and where they came from, like Oscar Wilde, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Groucho Marx. Kind of gives you just a little taste of it. And you know, it's from '92, so that was kind of, yeah, it's just kind of cool to have. But on a personal level, and I put these on Facebook and stuff, my goal is actually to get issue 26 all the way to 300. I'm not even going to play around thinking I can get 1 through 25. Run across, I'm going to get a good deal, great, you know. But Cerebus to me really started around issue 26. And before that, it was a Barbarian, Conan the Barbarian parody and stuff. But what was really interesting is I keep my ears open. So as I was flipping through some books with one of the vendors, another vendor came over and they were talking about, have you been able to get some early issues of Cerebus? Now Cerebus in Hell number 0 is about to come out. I already got mine pre-ordered. So I'm kind of wondering if they're speculating there's going to be a big Cerebus resurgence or something of interest and everything like that. Who knows? But I found that curious because I've been working on this Cerebus run for over a year now and stuff. But I was able to find for $1, and it's not in the greatest of shape, but it's definitely nothing to sneeze at. Number 26 for $1. The first chapter of High Society, so that was awesome to find. and ended up getting number 27. And this one does have a big dent on it somewhere down here at the bottom corner, but that's still fine. So I got the first 2 chapters of High Society. Great stuff. Now, when it actually comes to a format of comics and stuff, you know, you've got your floppies, and you've got hardbacks and softcover trades and things like that. But I think my favorite format are these square bound editions that look just fantastic on a shelf and stuff of Lone Wolf and Cub. I mean, I know some one shots and graphic novels that have come like this, but the paper on this, the feel of it in your fingers and stuff like that, it has a little bit of a waxy feel, but it's still the paper and stuff. But I'm just trugging along on this Lone Wolf and Cub run and stuff as I get them. These are Frank Miller covers. This is number 10 with an introduction by Frank Miller. And these Lone Wolf and Cub stories are just fantastic reads. Just some little Ronin samurai story all on its own with his cub. So there's number 10 and number 12. So another introduction by Frank Miller here. So just fantastic stuff. I can't wait to read those. And then I don't know, I keep saying this, I couldn't believe I found this in the dollar boxes. This is why I love the dollar boxes and stuff, but it's kind of strange to get this next book because I kept running across it at flea markets and stuff, and they were asking quite a bit of money for it. And I found one all beat up for like $1, and I grabbed it and everything at a flea market about earlier this year or a year ago in Hillsville, Virginia. But I ended up finding Amazing Spider-Man 251, and you talk about Spider-Man books, they're all costing a little money there. I think it's from $300 back. It used to be if you want to start your Spider-Man run and want to collect them, I would tell people to go from issue 200 and back. And probably about a year ago, I said it's time to go 300 and back. So to find this for $1, this was a little hot book there for a while, all because of the Hobgoblin and stuff. Great 80s stuff, man. I'm pretty sure it was Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz. Wait a minute. Those two did some Thor books back in the 2. Excuse me. Roger Stern, Tom DeFalco, and Ron Frenz. Yeah, so Roger Stern, great. Loved him on the Avengers back in the day. All right, and then you get into that collecting where you get some books just for fun. These are for pure fun. And I love Starman from the 90s by James Robinson, Tony Harris, and all the other guys that came after Tony left, and Tony kept doing covers and stuff. But that's the writer on this. But the thing is that when DC and Marvel crossed over and they did Amalgam Comics, I think it was in the second wave of Amalgam Comics, they had a Spider-Boy team-up. And there was this artist on there named Ladron. Can't remember his last name, but he just goes by Ladron. And it's my interpretation of his art is that he draws people like Jack Kirby does, but he does the background in like this Japanese manga style that kind of harkens to a little bit of Jeff Darrow at the same time. I absolutely loved the meshing of it, and it didn't feel like he was being a hack and ripping off Jack Kirby. He definitely does his own thing with it. So he ended up doing Cable. I'm sure he missed an issue or two from 48 to 70, so I want to start trying to get those. By the time I got these for $1 a piece and stuff, I'd already been around, and Michelle gave me a really good deal on these, from when toys were fun. So yeah, I got Ladron's first issue of on Cable. I just love this art style, going back to Marvel. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. But I mean, he's just definitely got a grain. The man is from Mexico, and I really like his art. I mean, it's just very retro, and then he's got these detailed backgrounds. It just has a whole different line to it. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I'm going to get caught up in it. Anyway, here's 48 of Cable, 49. And yes, I realize Cable may end up being a hot character again with Deadpool number 2 coming out. Here's number 50 with a big wraparound cover, it looks like. What have we got here? Oh, man. I'm sorry, I'm seeing the art in it. I'm not going to get distracted. I'll just fold that back up. So yeah, we got a wraparound cover for issue 50 of Cable. James Robinson. Yeah, 51. and she had a few in the 50s, but I jumped up to 64 because they switched writers. I think it was Joe Casey writing this for a while. You know, grab the some stuff. So it's got the Apocalypse appearance in there. It looks like. Yeah. Number 65. Like I said, these were for pure fun, but this is the one that got me, man. It seems like the longer he went on the book, here's 66, the more he just got out there and freer with his art. Yeah, it reminds me of very 70s Jack Kirby. And then with Infinity, I think I got these out of their boxes here and stuff. But I could not pass this up. I knew there was going to be something wrong with it, but it's nothing worth really complaining about. A little wrinkling on the back cover. But for $1, I got a 1974 100-page giant from DC of Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes with Mike Grell art and some Kurt Swan stories and stuff, and Ultra Boy and, you know, all that stuff. I'm Legion nut, as you guys know. And then this is a book I've never found in the wild. Actually, I've got the first issue up here in my top shelf showing. But I finally got this. But back in the early 90s, late 93, going into early 94 maybe, but they took the Vertigo comics, and with their annuals, they had a big crossover. So they had a booked-in 2-issue miniseries, and the annuals happened in between it with all the kids that were actually in the book, like Animal Man's daughter, Swamp Thing's daughter at the time, I think, stuff like that. But anyway, Neil Gaiman wrote the bookends, and we got the Children's Crusade. Like I said, it's in Tim Hunter, of course, from Books of Magic and stuff, but it's very Vertigo. So, you know, it's probably why you never really heard of it. If you were a fan of Vertigo comics when they were taking off and were into those books, this was a nice little crossover. All right, and then now I'm down to needing 4 issues of Hitman by Garth Ennis and 1 annual. And it blows my mind that I'm finally getting close to do this because I'm just waiting for people to kind of wake up. We talked about this, I mentioned, what was this? The 4 Awesome Guys show on Undisputed Frost channel. You know, we did a live show and where we were talking about Eric Powell and Garth Ennis, and I ended up talking about Hitman. So, you know, this was a 60-issue series set in the DC universe proper in the late 90s, taking place in Gotham City. Tommy Monaghan, here's 26, Tommy Monaghan, I think that's his name, if I'm saying it right, was part of the Bloodlines summer event with the annuals at DC, where they each one had like an alien invasion, and it gave them an excuse to all introduce a new character, and they're all pretty lame except for Hitman. His first appearance was in Demon Annual number 4 or something like that. And due to the alien striking him, he ended up gaining X-ray vision and telepathy, which, just like in Preacher, he doesn't really use that much. He uses it sparingly. But, you know, he's a hitman with a conscience. Not a conscience, but, you know, he only takes hits on people that he thinks are deserving. And it was a very funny book. I think one of the issues won an Eisner Award around issue 34, where it was a Christmas story with Superman talking to Hitman. Very interesting stuff. And I'm going to throw this in there because I just need to put it up and stuff. But on my work travels, I ended up at a Books A Million up in Winchester when I was going out for dinner or something like that. And they had a ton of books for $2 a pop. And I could have got 3 more of these. But this is apparently supposed to be the last chapter of the 30 issues of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series and stuff. And this is the Battle of Jericho Hill. I've never read these. I've had this for weeks, haven't opened it up. But it started off with Jay Lee's art on it. And Jay Lee ended up leaving, so I never really thought about it. So I will tell you more about this, but the stickers are covering up everything, and I haven't opened it yet. I got that for $2. Now, after that, we're going to get to Infinity Comics giving me this comic. Now, this is Avengers West Coast number 55, okay? John Byrne had returned from DC, and he started a She-Hulk and the She-Hulk series, the Savage She-Hulk series, and he jumped on Namor, got on some B-list characters, and I think after being on a high-profile character like John Byrne for a while, he just kind of wanted, was like, just give me, don't give me anybody big. But then he also jumped on this Avengers West Coast. It was West Coast Avengers. He started the Vision Quest, came in, he started writing the other Avengers book proper, and he comes up with Acts of Vengeance as their crossover event. But anyway, what's unique about this is, as you see the figures on here, not one of these, this cover was not drawn this way. What John Byrne did is that he liked to play around with computers and stuff. He was starting that when Superman that I know of. no idea how long he had been doing it. You know, this is 1990, dead on 1990. But what he had done is that each figure is taken from a panel on the inside of the comic, and the composition of these figures fit in with him taking those drawings. Oh, what's wrong with the camera? I froze up for a minute. Yeah, taking all of these, so I've marked it. That's what's unique about this. I'm wondering if John Byrne used to talk about when he did the Fantastic Four books, that he would draw some of the covers straight with ink, and he would get paid for penciling and inking, but it would be half the time. He would play around and use a felt tip marker to ink a cover or something like that. So he's recycled pages, you know, and stuff like that from book to book. He's recycled covers. Just changing who the characters were and stuff. So he always kind of played around with ways of saving time and making money. But before I get to showing you those, what I always found interesting is apparently John Byrne has a fascination with the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Because not only did he have it in West Coast Avengers with Immortus running around, but he also used it in in one of his John Byrne Next Men miniseries from IDW. I think this is the 3rd volume. So yeah, he's always kind of referenced that. You know, always had a thing for time travel too, I think. But anyway, like, I digress. What I was showing here is, like, on page 19 of this book, I went through and found them all. You have Hawkeye and Mockingbird getting grabbed. Well, you go to the cover, and there's Hawkeye and Mockingbird. And he put her on the edge of the cover so you didn't have to see the arms grabbing her. And then we go to page V20. And in this top corner, we have Captain America getting, you know, a monster grabbing him. And we got that on the bottom cover. We go to page 22. And we have the Wasp, which was put right here. Same one. And then the big one is Thor and Loki. This is from the top panel. On page 24, which of course is right there. So yeah, there's I love little, you know, little things like that with comics and stuff, little trivia like that a lot of people don't pick up and everything. And I figured that out on my own. When I saw that panel of Thor and Loki on the last one, that's why I showed you that last. It's kind of ironic it was the last in the numerical order of the book. That's when I started to like, hey man, you know, I started flipping through there. And I remember over the years seeing a panel in the comic that matched the cover. So I wished I could remember more of those. But it's something to kind of notice if you look at older books and stuff. And who knows, you know, when you get older and stuff. But I've seen that before, but I've never seen it done that way with multiple images manipulated. All right, guys, that's it. Catch you later.